It is episode 17 of the Grenglish podcast, and we have so much to talk about. The first being this little bad boy in the background. Roll the intro. I'm Greek Australian. That's why I look like this, but I sound like this. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. I picked up this bad boy today. As you can probably see, it says Guinness World Record certificate. The fastest crossing of mainland Greece north to south on foot, male, is 26 days, 4 hours, 15 minutes, and was achieved by George Moulos of Greece from November 7th to the 3rd of December 2025. That is wrong. Wait, what? I just read it. It says 2025. They got it wrong. Wait, what the fuck? It was last year. What year is it, Malaka? They got the year wrong. Oh my god. Oh. Wow. I didn't even read it properly myself. I just got it. It says 2025. It's 2024. I did it last year. It says 2025. Look at this. They got the year wrong. Wow. Lucky I went to all the effort of getting the world record for them to get the date wrong. Why is everything like this? Okay. So, whatever. Okay, so let's get into a few things. This is going to be... Look, the podcast is filling up with content. I remember the first couple episodes, I didn't have much to talk about. But we have a lot to talk about these days. First things first, I saw that a lot that the... talking basically about the military and the politics of Greece essentially does better. It gets more views for the podcast and on Instagram. So, you know what? I'm going to talk about it more. I love the topic. It's weird. Topics that I've always wanted to talk about, but I'm like, people don't want to talk about this or hear about this. They do. And things that I think people want to hear, they don't want to hear. So I'm going to be talking a bit more about politics and military these days on the podcasts. But I have a long list of stuff to review. So let's go through it. That I already talked about. So here's another. So since I'm taking apparently more seriously politics, either EU Parliament in 2029 or 2028 Greek Parliament. Hey, life's crazy. You never know where it might go, right? I'm kind of hashing out. I'm building out a bit of a team of supporters and people who can help me in the process. And I'm also improving my Greek, CRCR, and building out like my ideas and my policies. One thing, so I'm going to put this all on my website and I kind of do a deeper dive on each topic. One of them is the army, obviously. I love history, as probably everyone who's listening to this knows by now. I love history, and there's this one book by Thomas Sowell called Conquest and Cultures, and really he talks about how where you live, the geography, the typography, connections to the sea, really impacts your culture. So, for example, Greece is basically all peninsulas. All of Greece, all the Balkans is a peninsula. And then it's just peninsulas on peninsulas on peninsulas, which means there's land that juts out and then goes straight into the sea, which means it's easy to get sea access. As everyone knows, there is like very few cities in Greece that are not close to the sea or within, an hour's drive. And if there are cities, they're very small in population. So we've had immediate sea access, which is great for trade. On the other hand, you say, okay, what country doesn't? Well, look at West Africa, look at Ghana, look at Nigeria. Their sea access, it's all sandbars, so it's hard for ships to get in, and then massive swamps, which is a physical barrier, but then also a bacterial barrier. Countries couldn't go through these swamps without getting, people couldn't go into these swamps without getting heaps of diseases and stuff, especially if they weren't, climatized. So for Greece, trade was always a strength because of its typography, because of its geography. And then, another great example is Denmark and the how communal everyone is, as opposed to Greece. To survive the long winters of the north, communities had to come together to work together to store food and survive the winters. Here, it's like 8 to 10 months of summer, like really not that cold temperatures. So we don't really need to come together. And winters aren't that severe. So, fuck my neighbor. Who cares? We don't need to come together to survive. Hasta na pane. So, with that being said, I'm no expert. However, I've read enough, I've seen enough to know that each country has a grand military strategy. They have contingencies, and that is usually talked about and planned within the army and the defense forces, and then also the alliances therein. That being said, all through Greek history, and really Eastern European history, the defense of the eastern flank of Europe, and especially the eastern flank of Greece, has always been done not by huge, low-quality armies, but by small, high-quality armies. The defense strategy, the grand strategy of Greece right now, is having an army of like 2-3 million if there's an invasion by Turkey, calling upon an army of 2-3 million low-quality soldiers with a small contingent of like 50 to 100,000 real soldiers. That's not really a good plan, in my opinion. I'm against conscription because I don't think it will work. I don't think that's the grand strategy of Greece. If we look at the invasions where we won, like the Italian invasion, the fronts of invasion are not that big, actually. So having a smaller professional army, well-equipped, well-experienced, well-trained, is better, I believe, because we're only going to fight on smaller fronts, as opposed to a high, low-quality army. Now, everyone knows that when people go into the Greek army for conscription, they do 2 months of like people yelling at them, and not yelling at them toward effectiveness, but yelling at them toward little effectiveness. And then they're just smoking and drinking coffee anywhere in Greece and not actually being well trained. If it was a mass conscription, which it is mass conscription, all Greek men need to go to the army, and it was actually well trained, like, I hate to say it, but Israel, that would be a different story. But it just literally isn't. Like, I want to go to the army. I actually love the army. I went to a military school, Newington College, I went to a school called Newington College in Australia, and it has a better kind of role of, like a repertoire history of, battles than most nations. Like they fought in the Boer War, they fought in the First World War, Second World War. Like, it's crazy. Cadets history. Here you go. But yeah, like, I went to the cadets. Okay, that ain't the army, and I was a kid. But I learned more leadership then than pretty much. I think I learned more in the cadets of a private school, military school, than I would 3 months in the Greek army. That's my contention. Here you go. The Newington College Cadet Unit is one of the oldest units in Australia, having formally established in 1869. The unit still remains as an important part of the cadets, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they fought in a bunch of battles. So yeah, I don't know. One of my first, I'm going to put this on the website. One of my first plans or ideas is the professionalization of the Greek army. I think one of the worst things you could do for a young man in Greece is immediately as they come out of high school to put them in a 3-month or 6 or 12-month training program where they literally learn nothing. Either improve the mass conscription, which they don't have the budget or the ability to do, or professionalize the army and be selective. Okay, do conscription. And whoever comes to the tests and doesn't pass, get out of here. And then you can pay the few who do come in more and train them better. Like, Greece's grand strategy for military defense shouldn't be mass conscription, because we're never going to win that game against Turkey or against any aggressor. Like 10 million population, 5 million men, maybe 2 million are fit for fighting. 2 million against 10, 20, 25 million Turks. Let's say it's 10. Yeah, we're not going to win that army. But again, like all Greek invasions or invasions of Greece, you don't need a broad front. You just need a very highly well-trained front to funnel their numbers. Like, we are mountains and islands. You can't fit 1 million or 2 million, soldiers into a front. And we've never needed to. Just be better. Have better trained armies. Have more professionalized soldiers. So that's my first contention. My first idea. So, I'm going to start reviewing more and more Greek brands or Greek-owned brands. One of which I have been looking for a good bone broth because in America they got heaps of bone. My friend owns one of the biggest bone broth companies in America, and I love these brands bone broth because it's like crazy protein, easy to consume, and it's like low calories. So I found a Greek one actually. You know what? Let me go get it. Wishbone bone broth, organic beef bone broth, and look at the stats on this. 16 calories for 100 grams. Okay, it's net all, but like the protein on it is 3.8 for 100 grams, right? And what is it? 500. So you're gonna have 3.8, 4 times 5. That's pretty good for soup. Right? You put some chicken in it, maybe some beef, some vegetables. That's really good. I tasted it. I drank half of this, or ate half of this, and it was delicious. So there's a good Greek brand. There you go. Wishbone bone broth. Crazy good protein. Let's talk a bit about Greek banking. Now, Greek banks have a pretty bad reputation. Probably the least trustworthy institutions as an industry, maybe in the world. Like, no one trusts Greek banks. Now, I've used banks in Cyprus. I've used banks in Greece. Almost all of them, either with clients or myself. And obviously they've had massive restrictions because of their actions in the previous decades. But the one shining light in the Greek banking world is Revolut. Now, it's kind of like an internet bank, but you know what? It has been a lifesaver. And now I think I was a bit of an early adopter in Greece and Cyprus. But their takeover of the Greek banking world and market, it's not a majority because the old banks are, so established, they have such a monopoly. But it is so easy to use. And there's Revolut Personal and Revolut Business. And it is so easy to use. They actually give you interest. Listen to this. You can put your money in a bank and you can get money from that interest. Oh my God. What a crazy thing to do in Greece or Cyprus. It's crazy that a bank works normally like a bank instead of charging you. You give them money and you have to pay them to hold your money. What? No. Revolut Business, Revolut Personal. I'm going to pull it up. It is honestly the shining light in the Greek and Cypriot banking world. Obviously, the other banks are in no position to innovate, and nor could they. But like, I go into my Revolut Personal banking, I can store my money, I have a savings fund that gives me 2.7% interest, APY, and I get that interest every day. So I'll get like $30-40 a day from interest, whereas in my Greek bank, in my Cypriot bank, conventional bank, I have to pay them like $1,000, $2,000 a year to hold my money. Like, it's complete flipping of the script in the banking system. And then within the app, I can invest straight into the stock market, ETFs, bonds, commodities. There's a million perks within the app. And then I can obviously make payments. Like, making payments to other people. I think Piraeus or something, they just started doing this thing called Iris, like direct transfers without fees. Yeah, man, you were supposed to have been doing that for years. Revolut does that already. So like transfers are super easy, and then you use the Revolut code or phone number, and it's bam, bam, bam. Go to the hairdresser. He doesn't have a card thing. I just Revolut him, or I go there. Like it's so easy, as it should be, like it is in the West, right? And then you can invest in crypto straight on the app. There's the point system. There's all of this like stuff, and then you can like get miles. You can put things towards lounges and stuff. And even better, for my comedy shows, I want to sell tickets at the door by card. I got my little Revolut scanner, bam, straight to my bank account. So like, it is a complete takeover. It is a complete. It is levels and levels and levels above the Greek banking world, let alone the technology, the user experience, the customer service, but even reputation. So I am like a big fan of Revolut. They should sponsor this podcast, to be honest. Yeah. And actually, there's if you want to sign up to Revolut Business or Revolut Personal, use my links because I think I can invite friends. There you go. And money will go towards producing this podcast. So I'll put the link in the description below. If you want to sign up to Revolut Business or Revolut Personal, use the links below and the codes below, and we'll go from there. But yeah, like honestly, anyone in Greece or coming to Greece or moving to Greece or wants to start business in Greece or have a personal account in Greece, they should be using Revolut because all the other banks are like a 1 out of 10 when Revolut is honestly like an 8 or 9 out of 10 in terms of service, quality, return on investment, safety, everything. So yeah, Revolut is τέλεια ρε φίλε. So, I'm also going to start building out on my website, georgemoulos.com, guides. So like, that will be one guide. You're setting up a Greek bank account guide. Again, this is who I recommend. This is how to do it. This is the process. And writing it down, just listing things off. Because moving to Greece is obviously a process. And you just need to have, the recommended systems, know who to talk to, how to do stuff. Because if you don't know how to do it, no one's guiding you, it's a minefield. And I've gone through it all. And all my friends have gone through it all. So I'm thinking of just building out like a list of systems on my website. So one of them might be setting up a bank account. One of them might be the Afimi process, how to set that up, how to get that. Because no one tells you this stuff. Even accountants I ask, they're like, hey. I'm like, what? They're like, bro, give me a list of 1, 2, 3, 4. How hard is it? So I'm going to set up like a guide, a Moulos guide to setting up in Greece. I think that would be a good process. So this week, the Moulos guide of this week will be how to set up a bank account. So that's going to be on the website. Follow georgemoulos.com if you're looking for guides in Greece. The first one will be on about Revolut. Next week we'll talk about Afimi. What's next? Here's a weird one. I like weird stuff like this. Anytime I'm bored, I just go to Google Maps. I love to go to Google Maps and just traipse around. Have you ever looked at Google Maps and realized how far east, west, north, and south Greece is? You'd think that the most westerly point of Greece is like Roumenitsa, the city on the coast of Greece. But it is so much further west than that. There's an island, it goes far, far, far further to the west than you might think. Far beyond, most people think that Greece kind of ends at Albania in terms of going west, but it really doesn't. It really ends there's Corfu, obviously, and then beyond that, there's even more islands. So if we look at the computer, here we have Greece, and then here's Roumenitsa, right, which is one of the most westerly cities. But then obviously there's this panhandle that goes here. Greece is like Albania. You're not getting to the beach there. You're not touching the beach. And then there's this here. Basically this is the most westerly mainland point. What about this beach? Is that Albania? That's Albania. So the most westerly Greek mainland point is right here. Right? And you think, oh, that's about as far west as it goes. Then it's no. All of Kerkira is here. So all of this is Greece. And then there's even, and like, look how far west we are already. And then these islands, Orthoni, this is the most westerly point of Greece. And if you look at how far west that is like almost further west than most of Albania. This is how far west Greece goes. Like most of Albania is is not that far west. It's crazy to think how close that is, Orthoni is, to Italy, right? Crazy. I mean, in ancient Rome, they used to go from Brundisium here to Dyrrachium, which is called Durres now, which is Durres here in Albania, which is, obviously Greek city that was owned by the East Romans, East Romans, and then Venice, and then that would take the big road across here, Thessaloniki, Constantinople. But yeah, like look how far west Greece is. That's crazy. And then that's crazy. That's one thing. Like even if you go north, look how Greece is further west than like most of Serbia. Most of Serbia is not as far west as Greece, and like half of Poland, all of Finland. I mean, that's kind of obvious, but yeah, like it's crazy how far west Greece goes. And then if we go to the other extreme, how far east? So you might think, oh yeah, Rhodos is as far east as we go, but then it's like not even fucking close, mate. Look how far east Castellorizo is. And then that's one thing. And then I think this island is Greek too. No, it's Turkey. This island? No, it's Turkey. What about this island? No, that looks like Turkish. I think Strogili. This island here, Strogili, is Greece. This is the most easterly spot of Greece. The most easterly spot of Greece, Pupia, is further east than Constantinople. Look at that. It is further east than Constantinople. So Greece is further east than Constantinople, like all the way here, and then further west than most of Albania, all the way here. Like it is so far east to west. And then north to south, trust me, I know this one. I walked most of it. The most northerly spot of Greece is, you would think, is Ormenio, which pretty much is. But then there's this like tiny panhandle. I think this actually, which goes across the Maritsa, this spot here, which is like pretty north. Like it is more northerly than Rome. No way. It's about the same longitudinal line as Rome. It is like more northerly than Barcelona, more northerly than most of Turkey, almost all of Turkey. More like it's crazy how north, south, east, west Greece goes. And then of course southerly, that one most people know is Garvados. Here at Cape Tirpiti, and that's like crazy south. Like that is almost as far south as all of Cyprus. It's one of the most southerly points in all of Europe. It is so much further south than Tunis, Tunisia, Algeria. It is like deep south. Like Africa, a decent little bite of Africa is more northerly than this point. So Greece has this crazy north, south, east, west axis. I don't know why that's a topic, but isn't that crazy? Let's go to the next thing. Limassol's got to calm down, bro. Limassol and the whole trying to be Dubai thing, I'm not a fan. I mean, I'm not really a fan of excess, generally speaking. But driving around in a little dumb boat that looks like a Rolls Royce is the line. I'm not. It's not allowed. I'm not allowing it. That is ridiculous. You're gonna go around the marina in a Rolls Royce Malakia boat. El amore, hace más ref. Come on, bro. You know how dumb that looks? That's ridiculous. It's either a boat or it's a car. Pick one. Oh my god. Okay. So here's a made in Greece brand. And look, I'm not just going to say I love every Greek brand because it's Greek. I'm not a big fan, to be honest. I don't know why he's wearing a Russian hat. United Folders. Folders? I mean, they do. The jackets look like a bit like a folder. No, it's good. It's good to see Greek brands. I wouldn't personally wear this. She looks like a USB. But εντάξει, cool. High tech. Good to see Greek brands. Not my style, but here we have a person. It looks like he's on a Greek ferry. Trying to roll a cigarette. The amount of times I've seen Greeks try and roll cigarettes in the most difficult locations. Like, this guy's on a ferry, fucking gale force winds, and he's still rolling. And he looked like he got the job done. I've seen someone on a motorbike, a scooter, one hand on the throttle, and another one rolling an entire cigarette with one hand in the wind, too. Like, amazing skills. The comments are like, he can stop anytime he wants. No, he can't. He cannot stop. It's not addiction. It's called dedication. Wait until he has to pull out a lighter. Yeah, calor. You got to put the shirt over it. Greeks in there rolling of cigarettes today. Gold. Diablo έχουμε. Here you go. This lady, she looks a bit more Slavic, is rolling a cigarette on her child's back. Oh my god. That's the Balkans there. Top comment says, child abuse? No. Child use? Yes. That is gold. That's amazing. Cool. Bit of absurdism is always good for you. Here we go. Greece to protest Italy deal with Turkey. Greece is preparing a formal protest against Italy over its defense agreement with Turkey. What? Just days after a high-level discussion between Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis and French President Emmanuel Macron regarding the sale of media air missiles to Ankara, the Greek government argues that Rome bypassed European regulation by approving the sale of Piaggio Aerospace to Turkey's Baykar without notifying EU partners. Wow. So they're selling a Italian company to one of the best drone companies in the world, which is Turkey's Baykar. How do you say that? Baykar? Greek officials insist that European defense cooperation must be transparent, particularly when it involves Turkey, a NATO member with contentious relations. Yeah, best way I'd say. EU regulation 2019/452 requires that such investments in state-controlled defense companies be disclosed to other member states. Why are we in the EU if our own neighbor cannot tell us they're selling a massively important company to Turkey's most important drone manufacturer? Is it that hard to notify us? Athens claims Italy failed to do so before transferring ownership of Piaggio Aerospace, a strategic aviation company, to Baykar, known for its UAVs and drones. While Macron assured Mitsotakis that discussions regarding meteor missile sales are ongoing and not yet finalized, he highlighted that the UK plays a crucial role in the decision. Why? What? Greece continues to monitor the situation. It's over then. Despite Greek concerns, several European countries maintain significant defense contracts with Turkey. Germany, for instance, has an ongoing $2.5 billion deal to deliver 6 Type 214 submarines. Berlin has allowed negotiations of the sale of 40 Eurofighter jets to Turkey. No final agreement. Spain, a consistent defense partner of Turkey, contributed to the construction of the Turkish aircraft carrier Anadolu, which is being adapted as a drone carrier. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom has engaged in extensive defense contract with Turkey, approving $2.2 billion. Greece's protest highlights a broader EU tensions over arms sales and defense cooperation with Turkey. Look, here's my opinion. Turkey should be a strategic ally of Greece. I mean, it actually is already by NATO's, by NATO membership. However, a bit of transparency is actually what is legal and must be done. Obviously, the big companies and the big money in the EU doesn't give a shit about regulation or laws that affect Greece, obviously. And Turkey actually doesn't really give a shit about the invading or attacking Greece. They have nothing to gain from it, actually. They care more about the eastern flank. Like all powers that have ever owned Constantinople, because that's what we're really talking about. Constantinople is the passage of east to west by definition of its location. So they own that now. Greeks own that. The Romans own that. Whoever owned that passage meant that they wanted to push the defensive line of their state as far east as possible. Now, let's look at history, right? It starts with the Roman Empire, really, the east-west divide, in terms of this barrier. Now, the natural barrier is the Silesian Gates, I believe it's called. Silesian Gates, which is a massive, massive mountain range in, like, eastern Turkey, right? So, here you go. Holy Land photos. So the Silesian Gates is like a valley of the Taurus Mountains that goes into Silesia, which is a massive, massively flat plain. And then there's the Amanus Mountains, right? Now, you want to push whoever has the power, whoever holds Constantinople, wants to push the eastern frontier as far east as possible, obviously. So I'm going to pull up, again, my computer screen. I'll do a bit of screen recording so you can know what I'm talking about here. So, if Constantinople is here, let me try a terrain one here. Obviously, here is this Constantinople. Now, this is a barrier, sure, this is a type of barrier, just the water, the Bosphorus, but if you own the European side of Turkey, they can cross here, obviously, just by boats, and Gallipoli and so on. But if you own this frontier, like, for example, the Nicene Empire and, like, the late East Roman Empire, you can own all of this land, but not the hinterland. Like, that's when the Turks owned the hinterland, but the Greeks owned this part. That's not really defensible, in my opinion, right? You can't just be a sea power and not have the mainland, and that's why it fell eventually. So most of the Eastern Roman Empire and the Roman Empire used this mountain range here. The Silesian Gates are here. I don't know what they're called now. But this is the Silesian Gates. So armies would come through here, and they would fight here in the Silesian Gates. If you look up Battle of Silesian Gates, there's like 20 battles. And then basically this mountain range that goes all the way up here, it's much more defensible. If my internet wants to load, much more defensible, these mountain ranges, than making a barrier here. Because this is a massive plateau. There's a lot of flat lands here. And then, essentially, you can also use this mountain range and this mountain range. So, like, for Turkey, they are not concerned with Greece. There's nothing to gain in some grand military strategy for Turkey in the West. There's nothing to gain. It is not like Greece is a threat to Turkey. It's not like Bulgaria is a threat to Turkey. Nor this country, nor this country, nor this country, nor this country. We look west. As a nation, we look west. Right? Now, Turkey, like I said, has nothing to gain from going into Greece. And unlike, for example, Thrace up here, which is all flat land, which is amazing agricultural land, as you can tell by all the farmland here. Greece is not so good. Firstly, here's the Rhodopi Dasos mountains, forest here, which is hard to get through. I know, I walked through it. Here's another natural barrier. And then here's more natural barriers. Here's another natural barrier, another natural barrier, another natural barrier, another natural barrier, another natural barrier. So, like, Greece's grand strategy should be based around really strong defense and small offensive operations. Kind of like Switzerland. Like, it's all about defense. High quality defense. Another mountain country. But also we need a really strong navy, as we've always known from history. All I'm trying to say is Turkey is much more concerned with the East. Like, is 10 out of 10 concerned with the East and its eastern frontier with Georgia/Russia, always having that on their mind. Armenia and Azerbaijan. Like, they're doing crazy stuff here. They've taken, obviously, Artsakh and Karabakh. Sorry for messing up the pronunciation. And they have this, like a road here. I'm not sure if they're showing the road these days on my Google Maps. But they have like a access from Azerbaijan to Turkey. And this is also Azerbaijan. And most importantly, Turkey has issues with Iran, obviously with Iraq, and most importantly, with Syria. Most importantly, with the Kurds. There were 20 million Kurds in eastern Turkey, all around here, right? So, like, for Turkey, the heartland of Turkey is here. Obviously, the capital is Ankara. Here is the heartland of Turkey. And really, the heartland and the population centers that win Erdogan elections are not Constantinople. It is not the western coast of Turkey. It is the heartland, the farmers, the ultra-Islamic mainland and like hinterland of Turkey. Turkish elections, right? 2024 Turkish local elections. So 78% of the population. Wow, that is pretty incredible. So here you go. CHP. So CHP is Ozel. Sorry, man, I don't know how to pronounce Turkish stuff. He won the western, historically Greek parts of the country. Constantinople, the coast. But the AK party, which is the AK Erdogan's party, he won the inland parts mostly. DEM, I assume, is Kurdish party. And like I'm saying, Turkey's biggest defense concern is the Kurds. They are in the country. And, so that's really their biggest defense concern. Like, Greece is not even in the top 10 defense attack concerns of Turkey. There's Syria, there's the Kurds by far, Syria, Iraq, Iran, Armenia, Russia, and then maybe Greece. Like, again, Greece has no ability, unfortunately, in offensive action. It just simply does it right now. That's the way it is. So yeah, what's my point? My point is strong navy is what we need, which we're not too far off, and a specialized professional army that operates much like the Swiss army. That's a bit more selective in who we bring in, so we can spend more money on quality training, quality equipment. Because our biggest threat being Turkey, our only a possibility, our grand strategy of defense should be holding up all these major mountain ranges. Mountain range here, Rhodopi Mountains, here at Kavala, all this stuff, right? That was a big tangent, but Greece launched a tender for 125 electric buses. So they want to replace the fleet of buses in Athens and Thessaloniki with environmentally friendly technology by 2025. 950 new buses. As much as actually a maximum of 1,300. Now, if I was to be the mayor of Athens, right, which I know is limited to, corrupt officials, I would do so much with this city. I think there's so much potential, and also it's like 50% of the country lives here. You fix Athens, you pretty much do a lot to fix Greece. But one of those things is cleaning up the streets. Like, so much of the streets of Athens are just filled with shit, with garbage no one uses. Let's start with the first one. All the cars and motorbikes that have been there for 10 years and are just collecting dust. Throw them in the bin. Get them out of the city. Second thing is, get rid of all the phone booths. No one is using phone booths anymore. Get rid of them. Bum. More, and, I believe, this is a bit to the left, but like, I have this belief that the road is for everybody. The road is everybody's, as it was before cars. The road is everybody's, and some of the road gets to go to cars. Some of the road should go to pedestrians, obviously, because it's our road, not just people in cars. And then bicyclists and other stuff. Obviously, there's other infrastructure that needs to be built in and around roads. Rubbish bins, lights, blah, 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 etc. But a lot of the stuff in Athens are from literally decades and maybe a century ago. Phone booths, gone. Parking fucking anywhere. Regulated. Put some lines on the ground. How hard is it to put some lines and some signs? Seriously. And then come and collect your taxes and fees to make money from people who want to park in ridiculous places. I'm not saying you can't park on the sidewalk. Park stinakri there. Give me a bit of space to walk. Is that crazy? And then also, the tram buses, they got to go. If you're going to buy 1,300 buses, electric buses, then tear down all of the wires and all the poles that hold up the wires from the street. Do you know how much space and how much more the city would breathe just aesthetically if all the wires of all the trams were gone? And not just that, you get better flexibility, and apparently they're more electric since you want to buy all these fucking buses. Like, clean the fucking streets of all the garbage. Let's get rid of all the stuff, and then we'll work on fixing the sidewalk. Let's clear the streets first, yeah? So that's one policy. They're clearing the streets of Athens policy. But maybe I'll elaborate that on the website. Anyway, that's enough for today. That's enough of the podcast. Visit the website if you want to check out any of the topics I've been talking about. I'm going to elaborate a bit more on each of these topics. And message me if you want to talk about them. I'm really open to conversations. And if you have any topics or memes or malakis that you want to send my way to review, I'm all for it. So send them to me on Instagram. I'll see you in the next episode.